The next area I served in was Ellsworth, Maine. That area, we covered an entire county of Maine, Hancock County, and it was huge. It's large enough to fit every single person on earth and give them 2 feet of elbow room. And so it was a big area, but it was also an area that was stoked and entrenched in the history of the church. We'd start teaching somebody, and we were like, in the Book of Mormon, like, oh yeah, I got a Book of Mormon in my trunk. You're like, you got a Book of Mormon in your trunk? And they'd bring it out, and I'm like, I've never seen the design of a Book of Mormon before. And you'd open it up, and it was printed by the RLDS church. And they're like, oh yeah, my parents are RLDS. Aren't you the RLDS missionaries? And I was like, no. And it was just something that I never really experienced before in my life. I saw so many people who actually believed in the Book of Mormon and believed in the Joseph Smith, but weren't actually part of the church. And that was, to me, the biggest shock. But like, the area is the most gorgeous area I served on my mission. It has Bar Harbor, it has Acadia National Park. You have these sites where you're like, how could anyone live in an area like this and see these seaside sunrises and sunsets and see the way the ocean works and not believe there's a God? And it just, you walked around and you're continually just awed by the majesty of everything around you. But it was definitely an amazing area. We were right next to, Washington County, which is where all the blueberries in America basically are grown. It's like 1/3 of the world's blueberries are grown in Washington County, Maine. And so a bunch of people in Ellsworth would work the blueberry fields. It was crazy, as you have an entire influx of immigrant workers who would literally be there for 2 months and then they'd be gone. And so it was really different feel than Bangor. Bangor was a big city. Ellsworth was completely geared towards a tourist feel. I mean, during the summer season, you had all the people coming in from all over the world. You had the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Martha Stewart. All these people would come into the greater Ellsworth area, and they would dump a lot of money. And so there's a lot of rich people who would live there during the summer. But when they leave, all of a sudden it'd become one of the poorest areas in the country. And the people there, you could tell that they were yearning for the gospel. You could tell that there was something that was missing. And they recognize it. They're like, I don't know what it is. It's just they had people tell me, they're like, there's like a funk over this area. And as we share the gospel with them, there's like, this actually makes sense. And things started getting better. And it was really cool to see that happen in towns and areas. I'd say that Ellsworth was really cool because Ellsworth is probably like the capital of lobstering for Maine. That area right there is where the lobstermen are. We went down and we visited a place called Swan's Island, and remember was driving us around and giving us a tour of it, and we come upon a cove, and there's like this, it's really weird, there's like this seawall, and it's just red in the cove, and I'm like, what is that? And he goes, oh, that's lobster. And the lobster price was so low that they were literally harvesting the lobster and throwing them in this cove and waiting for the price to go up to sell them. And I was like, are you serious? It was amazing. Like, everyone there ate lobster. Lobster was like commonplace. Like, you'd have people on the side of the road selling 5 lobsters for $20. And so it was amazing just to see like the cultural difference there. Here in Utah, a lobster tail is $7 itself, let alone the full lobster. And so it was really cool in Ellsworth to just kind of how much it felt like a seafaring community almost. I mean, when you drive along the road, everyone would raise their hand up, and I'm like, why do they do that? And I was told that it was the lobstering tradition. That on the lobster boats, when you pass somebody, you raise your hand up to say that all is good. If you don't raise your hand up, it means something's wrong, and then you need help. And so it was amazing as I started driving around town, and I would see people raise their hand up and to try to to signal all is well when we were passing. And I'm like, that's so cool. So as missionaries, we're like raising our hand up, and people look at us like, how do you know about that? I'm like, yes, we're part of the culture now.